Hey y'all, it's Lucy, and I'm here again to show you how to use Cricut Design Space with for cutting out patterns, specifically our little castle pattern. I've got it almost done, and I'm actually having a technical difficulty, which I can't believe. My phone, which is the overhead camera, isn't connected to my um, computer. So I don't know why that's true. Am I live, Ben? Is it on? Yes. Okay. All right. Let me see. I put the pattern in my paper glitter glue library, and I'll show you where to find that. You do have to subscribe to my newsletter to get the password, and then you have access to all my files. And then what was the other thing? One person asked about printable PDF files, and I almost always do printable PDF files for all of my projects because I want you to be able to make them even if you don't have something like a Cricut. But I haven't done the PDF file yet, and actually I'll show you what. Let me see if I can do screen share. Let's see, I think this is my screen. I'm going to go to Adobe Illustrator. Let me move this. And I'll show you, this is the pattern. I'm actually going to make it smaller so you can see the whole pattern. And let me move it over. So you can see it's a pretty detailed pattern. And in order to make printable files, this is a page size. I have to, I have to arrange each of these groups onto one page. So it takes a while. It probably takes 6 or 8 pages to do the castle pattern as a printable file. I will do that. I haven't done it yet, but I promise whoever asks about getting a printable PDF file, that will happen. Okay, now I have to find you again. Let me go back. Camera. Oh, there. Good. That wasn't so hard. Okay. And I was just looking for any questions. One of my friends asked about cutting chipboard with a Cricut, and I'll be honest, I've never cut chipboard. I have so much of this recycled cardboard that the thickest cardboard I've ever cut is 30-point cardboard, and for me that's pretty easy. Chipboard requires a knife blade and many more cuts. One thing I do know is that you pretty much have to do it from either a laptop or a desktop because your Cricut will kind of time out if you use like an iPad or an iPhone to do your to cut out to kind of drive your Cricut. So if that's a problem, I think using a laptop or a desktop is the way to go for really if you're cutting out really thick materials or something that takes a long time. Okay, are we ready to go? I'm looking at my brother. He helps me. Okay. Alrighty, first I wanted to show you, let's go to Chrome. And I'm going to screen share. Let me get to the right place. First I'm going to my website. Trying to go to my website. I'll show you that in just a second once I get there. Okay, now I'm going to screen share so you can see what I'm looking at. And this is my website, Paper Glitter Glue. Let's see if I can make it a little smaller. So you can see this is the home page. So in order to get any of my files, you need to subscribe. So let's go to the Make a Challenge page, Make a Castle Challenge page. And I think at the bottom I've got a subscription. I got a few examples of castles. I've got a list of where all the topics are. And finally listed all the materials. So I've got a bunch of materials here. So you can see what you need to make a castle. And there should be, yes, there's a subscription form at the bottom of that page. So first you have to subscribe. And once you have the password, then let's go to the library real quick. This is like the doorway to the library. It actually makes it a little harder kind of for people not to steal my files. So this is the doorway. Click the click here right in the middle. And then you get to the password page. And I'm going to type in the password. I hope it's not saved. And there. No, do not update my password. All right, now you're in the library. All the files are numbered and listed chronologically. So the Make a Castle Challenge pattern is number 150, it's 143. And right now it's only SVGs. So let's go, I'm going to click on it. And I'm on a Macintosh, which is actually simpler than I think a Windows-based machine. So let's see if it's downloaded it. Yes, it downloaded it. I can see it down in this corner. And a Mac always unzips it for you, so that's simpler. So this is the file with the pattern. And right now, I just got the pattern as one page. Sometimes I separate out things like shingles and stuff. I don't know if that helps people or not, but I hope it does. So anyway, so now we've got access to the pattern. And I'm going to go to Cricut. I've got my Cricut on my as one of my apps. Let's get a new, right, I'm going to get a new window so I can show you how to upload it. Maybe. Well, I've already uploaded this one. Yeah, that window's taking a little while. Okay, here we go. So when you click on Cricut Design Space, go to New Project up in the right-hand upper corner. It's a little green button here, New Project, which I've clicked. There we go. Now we're going to upload. So I've clicked Upload in the lower left-hand corner, and I've already uploaded the image, but if you want to add a new image, go to Browse. And on my desktop, I've got a list of everything here. So let's see, Make a Castle Pattern. This is my folder. This is it on my computer. So I'm going to open it up, upload, and then add to canvas. And I've actually already got it added to my canvas on another screen. And this is the way it'll show up. It shows up at 100% size. Well, you know it's a pretty complicated design, or it's not really complicated, but it's a lot of pieces. So let's make it small enough so we can see the whole thing. So I actually reduce the size to 25%. And one thing, whenever a design comes into Cricut Design Space, it's all grouped, so it's all one piece. But you need to, especially with score lines, you need to do some things to the files so that they will cut properly. So I'm going to ungroup. This is the ungroup button on the right side, kind of at the top under the layers panel. Layers, ungroup. And let's see if they're ungrouped. Yes. But trying to make it easier for you, I group them sort of as to function. For example, these are all shingles. So I grouped them all together. This is the funky stairway. I thought I had them all grouped. But anyway, that's the stairway. Let's group it. I'm going to select them all, group. And then these pieces are the, actually there are 3 pieces for that. This is what I call the over roof. And this is the dormer roof. Let's group them. Group. These make the rounded turrets, and I'll show you how to make turrets and towers next week. That'll be good. And this is the main body of the house. So let's kind of do the simpler part first. So what I'm going to do is move this out of the way. I'm going to select everything else, group it, And then I'm going to hide it with this little eyeball symbol on the left right hand side, kind of near the top. We're still under the layers panel. I'm going to hide it. This way I can just work on these pieces. All right, so you can see some of these lines are score lines and some are cut lines. These two pieces are actually cut lines, but you can't tell that automatically. So what I've done is I've combined them with the main piece so you don't have to worry about distinguishing what's a score line and what's a cut line. So unfortunately, it's hard to see score lines. Single lines don't show up, but whenever you have a group like this, kind of little obscure things, you can click on them. And I try to make it so that my score lines are always red. Every once in a while I forget to do that, but it should be red on most of my patterns. So let's click score, and now they turn to dotted lines. Okay, so now Cricut knows that these are score lines, but it doesn't quite know that, that it belongs just to this piece. Let's do the same thing for the back piece. So you can see actually these lines show up a little bit better. Let's click on them, and they're red. Change to score. Okay, now it's all grouped. I should have ungrouped it. I like to do these pieces one at a time. I'll show you why. Ungroup. So now the house piece is still grouped with it's still in the same category as the score lines for the house and the house piece are still grouped, but Cricut doesn't understand that that has to go with this piece unless you attach it. You always have to attach the score lines. So let's click attach, and now wherever we move it, wherever we put it on our canvas, it knows that these are attached. All right, for the back piece, same thing. We have to attach it. So let's just, you click on the whole piece. You can click here or you can click here. Click attach, and now Cricut understands that these two belong together. This is the main body of the house. Let's go ahead and make it. I'm going to make the body of the house as I usually move it down a little bit. I think it cuts slightly better if it's not right on the edge. And I'm using 8.5 by 11 paper, cardboard for this. So in order, you can do it one of two ways. You can leave it like this because you can clearly see it fits within 8.5 by 11, or you can change the size on material size over here. So let's move over here. 8.5 by 11, and it turns it around. You know, just choose whatever way is easiest for you. And then when you do that, you have to remember to tape your to put your cardboard down correctly. I say tape it because I almost always tape it. I'll show you my mats in a minute. They are kind of worn out and they don't hold things, so I almost always use painter's tape. Okay, then let's continue. I've got a maker, but this would also work with an Explore Air. So let's click my maker, and it is on. That's good. Even though I'm not actually going to make this, I'm just trying to show you real quick. Trying to show you quickly. Yeah. Okay, and for this, I use light chipboard, and light chipboard works for me. You might have to use a different setting, but this works for me. I always add more pressure. I kind of ignore the star wheels because it's not really that, my material isn't really that thick. I keep them on the sides all the time. Okay, now for edit tools, I like to use a scoring stylus. It's much faster. You don't have to stop, put the scoring wheel in, change the scoring wheel out, and you can only use the scoring stylus on the Explore Air. There's not a scoring wheel for an Explore Air. And then when my Cricut starts blinking, it has a little flashing C button. Then don't do the unload. Once it's loaded, and then it has the flashing C button, you press the flashing C button and you cut out your progress, your piece, your pattern piece. Okay, I'm going to cancel it, and have to cancel here too. The other thing I wanted to show you is, let me get everything back on the screen. So to find what I hid, it's kind of grayed out, you see. I'm going to click the little eyeball icon on the right side, and now everything is here. What I wanted you to see is that, and I'm going to enlarge it a bit, is that I always put a 1-inch scale on my patterns so you can tell and make sure that the scale comes up as I intended it. But the only way to tell it's a 1-inch scale, that if it's accurate, you have to ungroup, and then you can click on it, and it's actually a part of another group. So I'm going to ungroup again. Let's see if we got it. He's free now. Yes. So you can see it says 1 inch by 1 inch. So that tells me it's exactly the size I want. But what if you want to make like a really teeny castle? So I'm going to reduce the size just so I can see where all the pieces are. If you want to make a castle at 50% of this scale, then group everything together, and then there's no specific scale. It's not like you can say 50% up here and reduce the size. So I would just keep them all together, ungroup. Let's see what our, okay, so all I did was reduce it about 20%. Now the 1-inch scale shows 0.81, so, and it's still, so let's group. Let's make it much smaller. Group. So what I'm saying is, if you're going to scale your project, keep it all grouped so that you get it at exactly the right size. So, because you don't want to be changing the roof lines and the sides without all of them matching. So now let's ungroup again. Let's check our ungroup. And now it's like 65% instead of being, so that would make a much smaller one. All right, so that is that was what I wanted to show you, and mainly about score lines, and then cut settings. Actually, I was going to talk about organizing your piece so that it's easy to cut. So I'm actually going to upload it again, so I don't have to rescale it. I like, sometimes your Cricut doesn't cut it exactly right, and so I group it like one piece at a time, and that just makes more sense to me. So I'm going to ungroup this. For example, I'm going to ungroup these two. I know that this fits on my, this is 10 by 6 3/4. I know that that fits on one page. So I would just cut this out. I would hide everything else and just cut this piece out. Same thing. These are support pieces, and they're 10.4 by 7 inches. So I would cut them out as one piece. The shingles, same thing. That's one page. So I think that's simpler. And when you run it through your machine, if it doesn't cut it out the way you want it, all you do, don't unload the mat because that'll change the alignment. Just push the C button again, the go button, one more time and run it through again, test a corner and run it through again. I think that's the way to do it. Okay, do we have any questions? No, okay. Alrighty, let me just tell you a little bit more about the pattern. So I was so happy I made circular shingles because they go around the turret, the top of the steeple, so much better. So I was able to make these. And actually, I'm going to switch my screen. If I can find my screen. Where am I? I'm going to change to camera. Okay. So now I can show you. This is my prototype. Actually, let me see if I... So the circular is so much easier to add the circular shingles to a rounded piece. So I really am happy about that. The only thing is, I don't know if you can see it, but I got kind of wonky at the bottom. I didn't exactly attach them correctly. So I think the way to do shingles is to leave your tower before it's attached. Go ahead and add the shingles at that point. That's much easier. And the same thing with the roof piece. And I have an over roof piece that goes over here. I'm trying to get my brother's attention. Ben, can you hand me that kind of X-shaped piece there? It's right there by the scissors. Thank you, Ben. Okay, this is an over roof. And it really makes it much easier to add to the house. And what I would do is I would add shingles before you glue the towers on, but I would add the shingles here. Let me see. So just add the shingles here. I should have had a different color. And then when you've layered all your shingles, all you do is cut around this edge and you don't have to stagger. It's so much easier. So that's how I do the roof. And I wanted to show you some kind of cut problems. So oh wait, first let me show you. I'm really proud of the stairs, but they are kind of hard to do, or a little bit. Okay, these are the stairs I'm so excited. These are the stairs for the chateau, for my castle. Let's see. Wait, why can't I? There. Why can't I hold it right? There, that's better. So I'm very excited. It's not done yet, but that's the pattern. But when I cut them out, I actually glued several pieces together. So this is how it looked when my Cricut cut it out in 65-point cardstock. See? Pretty cuts. Really pretty. But then this is how it looked when I used some, let me see if I can show you trying to show you how raggedy it is. I mean, I couldn't even get some of the pieces out. And it was really pretty raggedy. That was 110 cardstock. And let me see if you can see here. Yeah, same thing. It just wouldn't cut it. And I finally figured out it's probably the paper because I cut it out of 110-pound cardstock in a different color. Look what a nice cut that is. So sometimes when you get a bad cut on your Cricut, it's not you, it's the paper. So just try some different paper, maybe a lighter paper or different cardboard or something. Sometimes that's all the problem is. And I told you about my mats being old. You can see how kind of beat up they are. And that's why I almost always tape things down with painter's tape because my mats are so old. But the nice thing about that is painter's tape is much more reasonably priced than the mats. The Cricut mats are pretty expensive. So see, these are all taped on, and it cut it out beautifully. So I just wanted to save you some money for that. Okay, I think that's it for the main problems I wanted to tell you about. If anyone has any questions, I can't directly see the chat, but my brother can. Okay. Oh, I see we've got Sherry from Rhode Island, Nan, Jackie, Cheryl, Emily, Rebecca, and Kathy from Walla Walla. So lots of people here. Thank you. And really, I put out an email yesterday, and I said, I think the important thing is to play. And you kind of have to do that when you're learning to use your Cricut. You have to kind of play around with it. If you've got one really fancy piece of paper or some beautiful scrapbook paper and you're not sure how it's going to cut, use a test sample or just do something in a corner. The way things get arranged on a mat, this lower corner is often not used. So just do maybe put a complicated design down in a corner so that you know how it's going to cut, or do practice cuts, and then don't worry about it. Just like if it's hard to do, don't really worry about it. And so you can ask me questions. You can email me, lucy@paperglitterglue.com, or either in actually got two Facebook groups, the Paper Houses and Paper Crafts, hosted by Paper Glitter Glue, or there's another one that's more oriented towards hand cutting, and that's Glitter and Putz Houses. So you can ask me questions at any of those. In addition, we have another number of members who use Cricuts all the time. One is Jackie Smith. She has a blog and she makes beautiful patterns, A Cottage in the Forest. And my friend Emily. Emily does a lot of 3D designs. I don't know if she does houses so much, but she does like these beautiful exploding boxes that are just amazing. And her website is Minor DIY. So, just feel free. People will help you if you're really having a problem with your Cricut. And even I could, like if you have a very specific problem and I'm not explaining things correctly, it can, that can happen. Then I can make a new video and just answer that one specific problem. Okay, the other thing is next time we're going to do towers, because I figured out a really cool way to make really round towers. And I'm so happy about that. And we're going to talk about some things on the kind of the issues doing these little spires and stuff. So, and that'll be next week. And I think the next one, I don't know if the next one is going to be patterns, but it might be the stone surface. That's one of my very favorite things, is kind of mimicking stone and ways to do that, whether you're hand cutting or you're using a stencil or you're cutting out your own stencil, whatever. So anyway, we'll talk about some of those things one of the next weeks. But next Tuesday is talking about towers, and I'll show you the neat tricks. Oh, okay. Cheryl said she always has a problem with printed paper. I don't know if she's talking about print and cut or if she's talking about just regular paper, like copy paper. Copy paper is kind of hard because it's so thin. That is one case where you really do need a sticky mat. You can't just tape it down because the little pieces will lift up and it'll cut. And it can get tangled and wrinkled and stuff. So you absolutely have to have good mats, sticky mats for that. If she's talking about print and cut, I have to be honest, I've never done print and cut. I really want to, because I think I made a number of like Advent gift boxes, and I think it would be really fun to have those as print and cut patterns. It would just be easy for people. They don't have to glue all the little windows on. I know that gets tedious. I mean, I get tired of it too. But I haven't ever done that, so it's something I need to experiment and learn how to do. Okay, I think that's it. Is there anything else, Ben? He comes over with this iPad and in big letters and shows me. Oh, links in the chat. Can Nan ask about links in the chat? We can do the Make a Castle Challenge link. He'll put the Make a Castle Challenge link in the chat. And what's the other thing? That has materials now. So if you want to see the materials that I commonly use, that's in the that's on the Make a Castle Challenge page as well. And I'm trying to link to each video. The replay will be linked on that page. So if somebody, missed it, they can always go to that page and find the replay. Okay, I think that's it. So I'm going to go, and I hope this helped. Like I said, it gets a little complicated on the Cricut, and if I didn't really answer the question you're talking about, just put it on the Facebook group, email me, and then I'll try to get to it, and I'll make another video and try to make it clear, or I'll actually experiment and learn how to do it, and so I can show you better. Okay, because I do like to play with my Cricut. Okay, Alrighty, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.